Hello, friends. It has been 8 days since I recorded the last update that I gave you. It's been 8 days, and I've written 10,000 words ish. We are at 40,232 words. Now, I'll be honest, I did not manage to write every single one of those 8 days. I did 5 writing sessions, so there were 2 days where I didn't write at all, and on both of those occasions, I needed the break. Feels like there are only so many days where I can wring stuff out of my brain in a row before I am just tapped out. I hope that that's something I can sort of build up over time, like a sense of stamina or creative endurance that can get better. All right, we'll talk more about that in a minute. But for now, I'm going to interrupt myself and we're going to go ahead and slot in time lapses so you can see those writing sessions where I've produced these last few thousand words. It's been a lot of fun writing this week, and I hope you enjoy it. All right, we are back. Let's go ahead and jump right back into my thoughts following these 10,000 words that we've written this week. For now, I am pretty pleased with getting 10,000 words done the last 8 days. It leaves us, just under 10,000 left, 9,800 words, and we will hit 50,000. But here's the thing. If you watched the last video, you know that I've got this week of travel coming up where I'll be going abroad for a wedding for a full 7 days, and I will not be getting a lot of writing done during that time, most likely. But our deadline is swiftly approaching. September 5th is looming around the corner. That being said, I discovered something while looking through the old videos this week when I was procrastinating the actual writing, and I realized that I flat miscounted how many weeks there were whenever I began this project. I started writing on July 5th and declared that we were going to write until September 5th. We were going to take 2 months. 2 months is 8 weeks, blah, blah, blah. We had the big update recently, and we had concluded week 6. That would make this week 7, which means that next week is week 8. But the end of this upcoming next week isn't September 5th. I believe there are 9 weeks, basically, between when I started and the supposed deadline. So I may have given myself more time than I realized, and we maybe could have been writing at a slower pace this whole time. However, as we approach the end of the project, the crunch is still there because I won't return until September 2nd, and then I have September 3rd, 4th, and 5th, and that's it. I'll be jet lagged, and who knows, what will be going on. I don't know how much I'll be able to get done during that time. So I wanted to get it done prior to the trip, which would mean writing 2,500 words a day for the next 4 days, just in a row, 2,500, 2,500, 2,500, 2,500, and I don't know if I can do that. We will see. This sort of acceleration of an already pretty accelerated writing sprint has actually been very useful. When I went back and redid the entire sequence outline the day that I was editing the big update video last week, and when I refreshed the outline, I discovered a new idea that really helped me in the middle part of the book. I've mentioned before, like many writers with their stories, I had a great idea for the first act, great idea for the third final act, but that middle part, a lot of stuff to fill where I just wasn't quite sure what the characters were going to be doing. I had a lot of A-plot type stuff, but there needed to be more obstacles. There needed to be more like tug of war on their wants and desires, and there needed to be a lot more story happening. And in refreshing the outline, I realized what they needed to be doing. And I realized exactly what kind of obstacle that ties in thematically, narratively, and just fits the story super well. I realized exactly what I needed to put them through to get them from the location at the end of part 1 and the final location at the beginning of part 3. There was sort of a missing stint where I'm pretty sure they need to be doing something for 100 pages in here where we deal with some of their conflicts against each other. This little band of characters we have surrounding the protagonist. They'll need to deal with some of their own conflicts, each have their own little arcs as we approach the final act, and I just don't know what to put them through to get them there. And then I realized, conveniently, I've got some countries kind of in the mix there. They were going to have to travel across this continent and then sail from one continent to the other, and that other continent is sort of the third act. So I knew there was going to be, I'm picturing the Fellowship of the Ring walking across the mountains of New Zealand. We'll travel at some point, but I was really hand waving that away. And when I stopped and thought, okay, what are the things that they could encounter as they pass through several countries on their way to the coast where they will sail to this next continent, and I decided to make them go through a war zone. This pulls together all of the factions that have already been at play. This gives our characters an opportunity to really have an interesting relationship with our central protagonist, who is a war veteran, and the other important characters are not. They're civilians. Our protagonist was explicitly a soldier. She was a sergeant and then a minor officer in an active hierarchical military. She grew up at a temple with these other characters that form our main fellowship, if you will. They're all monks. They all started as monks, and she grew up as a monk as well at this temple, but she went off and became a soldier. They stayed at the temple and are sort of more monastic style warriors, and so they all have very different philosophies. Our protagonist has experienced war and has a lot to say and do about that. These other characters are very well equipped martially and can handle themselves in fights because of their upbringing, but have not experienced the horrors of war and have sort of competing idealistic streaks that put them at odds with our protagonist and with the world they find themselves in during this big section of the book. So I wrote a few little chapters of them traveling through this war zone, figured out a way to tie it back to the adopted home country of the protagonist, which has been referenced but we haven't seen yet. And if I just make that war-torn country her adopted homeland that she moved to after she left the temple, it ties in everything. It ties in backstory, it ties in theme, it ties in a way for these characters to go through an important arc, and it gives us a lot of action and compelling stuff to witness as they travel through this war zone. So it's really just, it kind of came together beautifully, and I'm really excited to write more of those chapters after this challenge is done. It's honing in on an interesting place. The novel won't be done, but the bones of the draft are there. I'll have written enough chapters in the first act. There's a lot in the first act, enough chapters in the second act, and enough chapters in the third act that I think somebody could read this draft and understand the vision and like where I'm trying to get. I'll know more once I finish the final 10,000 words, but I'm pretty sure that once I'm done with this 50,000, I'm going to stop and reassess. And the next time I work on this project, I will likely begin a new draft that incorporates all of these ideas, but that will be a little bit more streamlined and informed by what I learned by doing these 50,000 words. I'm not certain that's what I'm going to do, but that's kind of how I'm feeling at the moment. No matter what, I know I'll have to stop at 50,000 because next term of grad school will start up. I'll be busy writing other things. This has been great. I'm really proud and excited to have hit 40,000 words, and the final stretch feels very, very doable now. Don't expect a video on September 5th, but shortly thereafter, I will post the final update of the summer novel project, tell you whether or not I hit the word count and what I learned along the way. Thank you for checking in, and I will see you with one more update in a few days.